Pretty much the worst video ever made.
I'm Seth Morton.
I'm Shane Maples.
And that was Napoleon Dynamite. In case you didn't know, it is March Madness time.
The best month of sports.
Definitely.
Hands down.
NCAA men's basketball tournament.
Yeah.
Now,
The tournament really is the best thing about sports.
It is. Brackets are amazing. And we're going to help you out with yours. We're going to help you get some money from your bookie. Maybe get a little money, go spend it on your wife. Or if you are a wife, spend it on your kids.
Maybe you can call Fat Jack and tell him how wrong he is.
Fat Jack is wrong all the time. Don't listen to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to start with some key first-round matchups that might spoil some brackets from the get-go. We're going to start with Wichita State and VCU.
VCU was last year they were the Cinderella team. They were where it was at. Everybody was in love with VCU. But this year, Wichita State is kind of taking the VCU role. Not so many people are thinking about VCU. In my personal bracket, I take VCU. But as a show, we are backing Wichita State.
Joe Lenardi himself, who apparently knows nothing about basketball teams. Anyways, he said VCU was the best mid-major. VCU has 6 seniors on their squad. They have a 7-footer inside named Garrett Stutz.
You mean Wichita State? Right.
Did I say VCU?
Yeah.
My apologies. It's Wichita State. And they won the NIT last season, which is the same tournament Tennessee's going to win this season. We'll have more on that later.
So, basically, if I were you guys, I'd go with Wichita State. But I wouldn't blame you for picking VCU because a 12 usually does beat, there's always one 12 that beats 5. But probably not going to be this one.
No, I wouldn't say so. So we're going to take, we advise you to take Wichita State to beat VCU.
Next, Vanderbilt, Harvard. The battle of the geniuses.
Imagine the trash talk in this game.
It's going to be they're going to be quoting French Lit, the heart of 1,000 tears, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I can't quote French Lit.
No, I don't know anything about French Lit. But anyways, Harvard, according to Joe Lenardi, has no chance to beat Vanderbilt. But I disagree with him. Personally, I think the fight of Harvard will be enough to keep them through. In my personal bracket, I had Harvard beating Vanderbilt.
In my personal bracket, I had Vanderbilt beating Harvard. Because we're not going on ACT scores here, we're going on basketball.
Yeah. Harvard has one great player in Kyle Casey who averages, I think, 13 points a game. And Harvard was able to beat Florida State this year as well.
Florida State, really good team.
Yeah, they are. Harvard has one other player in Drew Hamlin who will manage to get around 8 rebounds a game. Pretty much every game he comes out there.
But Vanderbilt won the SEC tournament and beat Kentucky. Not only did they beat Kentucky, they kind of schooled them in some parts of the game. Kentucky looked lost by Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt really just kind of manhandled them in some parts, but Kentucky seemed to have swung the momentum a couple times when they would dunk.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt really was able to force Kentucky out of their element by forcing Anthony Davis to play on the perimeter. Not where he wants to play.
Also, Vanderbilt had very concise passes.
Either way, if you're looking to win this game, I would advise you to take Vanderbilt over Harvard. Now, our next game, another 5-12 between Long Beach State and New Mexico.
Now, New Mexico has a kid named Gordon who is going to win this game for them.
Gordon.
I don't get that. Anyway, Gordon is their leading point scorer and their leading rebounder. He averages a double-double, and he's going to be a huge mismatch for Long Beach State.
Yeah. Long Beach State is a team that a lot of people are taking because New Mexico really just kind of came out of the blue when they won the Mountain West tournament over San Diego State and UNLV. But Long Beach State, the last time they were a 12 seed, got beat by 40 points by Tennessee.
Yeah, go Vols, back when we were good.
Yeah, way back when we were good, before Bruce Pearl got caught lying.
Bruce Pearl.
Dang it, Bruce. But anyways, New Mexico, I guess, is the better team and should win the game.
So, if we're advising you to take
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah. And the reason is because New Mexico, man.
Not what I was going for.
Never mind. Seth just completely misled me on this soundbite.
Anyway, on to the next game. Georgetown and Belmont. This is a 4-13 matchup, right?
No, 3-14.
3-14.
3-14.
And
can't get that mixed up.
Georgetown is going to lose.
Yeah, Georgetown never really shows up to play in the tournament.
I think one year they made the Final Four, but they had a super good team that year.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't that when Patrick Ewing played for them and all that nonsense? I mean,
yeah. Anyway,
they did make the Final Four with him.
But anyway.
But now Patrick Ewing doesn't play for him.
No, he does not. And Belmont always seems to be that upset team. That team that upsets.
Yeah, I mean, they're the team that no one wants to play.
Definitely. And they play. Don't they play kind of Princeton-y offense?
Yeah, they play real fast paced once they get across. Once they get across the half court line, they're just go go go.
Also, they're super smart too, so they're going to be able to figure out Georgetown.
Yeah, and they're a Baptist school, so they have God on their side.
Definitely. So this is the big upset pick.
Yeah.
Belmont over Georgetown, and really Georgetown is just a totally overrated team.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, the Big East, people can say what they want about the Big East, but I just don't think the Big East was all that great this year. They had two good teams.
Physical, like always. Syracuse, great.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Marquette, they're good.
Where was Connecticut this year?
Yeah. Connecticut didn't have anything. Louisville lucked out and won the tournament. Cincinnati had one hot shooting game in the tournament. They got their name out there.
Oh, speaking of Louisville, in my personal bracket, I have them beating Michigan State, but I wouldn't advise you to go with that.
No.
The only reason I did that was I texted Cha and they said, watch for Louisville to come back on Michigan State in the second half.
That's worse logic than using old George Washington right here.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are some of the upset picks you can worry about.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the teams to watch.
Yeah, teams to watch.
Wichita State, like we brought up
We've
earlier.
already brought up Wichita State and Harvard as well. Murray State, of course, the record is 30-1 this year. They won the Ohio Valley Conference. Yeah, what kind of a nickname is the Racers? Anyways, one thing about Murray State is that their first and second round games will be played in Louisville, Kentucky, which is right in Murray State's backyard.
Also, they have 6 seniors, right?
That's Wichita State. That's the other state.
Never mind.
Murray State has one guy named Isaiah Kanan who averages 19 points a game and shoots 47% from three.
Oh, okay. Some other teams to watch that won't be as big of surprises.
Baylor
and FSU.
Yeah.
FSU is super good. I wish that if they were, I like FSU. If they were in Michigan State's bracket, they would be in the Final Four. This was an Elite Eight team last year that had just a terrible offense, and this year they've got wins over Duke and North Carolina, and they won the ACC championship. They went from that borderline North Carolina Duke in the ACC, and then it was like Florida State and Wake Forest.
Yeah.
They jumped over that this year.
Yeah, now they're right there with North Carolina and Duke.
They're competing with them.
Personally, I have Florida State losing in my Elite Eight.
Yeah,
which actually I think we have that in our bracket too.
Also, Baylor is a total mismatch for a couple of teams. They're going to beat Duke because Duke cannot handle their length.
No, Duke can't handle the length and athleticism of Baylor. Baylor with Perry Jones III. They like the thirds over there in Baylor. RG3 and now PJ3.
I think Robert Griffin is better than Andrew Luck. His passing numbers, if you look this year, were insane.
We're not talking about the NFL draft.
Sorry.
Anyways, Baylor also has another player in Quincy Acey, who's one of those just pesky players who scores more than Dane Bradshaw, but has the same heart and soul as Dane Bradshaw.
Whatever happened to Dane Bradshaw?
I don't know. Now he's in commentary or something. He'll be a good coach one day.
Probably.
Anyways,
you can't coach hard.
Now we're going to move on. We talked about our bracket. Now we're going to move on to our bracket, bringing you our
little big board
8 on our little big board, and I got to see what happens here. Hopefully you guys can see that.
My beautiful face is being blocked out.
Oh, there's a little big board. See that? Hey, you get out of the way. As you can see, let me see if I can be Vanna White here for a minute. Probably not.
Yeah, you don't quite have the figure.
No, not quite. Kentucky. Oh, that's pretty good. Kentucky.
You're getting me out of the shot.
Oh, you're out of here.
Anyway.
Kentucky will beat Baylor in the Elite Eight. After Baylor upsets Duke, Kentucky moves on to the Final Four. And then in the bottom left-hand region, you have Michigan State facing off with Missouri. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Michigan State, team consistency.
There you go. This works.
Oh, that's a good idea. You're covering up the game I'm talking about, though.
Oh.
Whatever, who cares? You can see Syracuse wins it.
Syracuse definitely is going to win.
Yeah, Michigan State and Missouri. Michigan State team consistency. Missouri, the fast-paced, run up and down the court, just run all over you team. We have Missouri beating Michigan State coming out of the bottom left-hand region. Now, moving up to the top right, this is where we have Florida State. Florida State, right there. Florida State
and
losing to Syracuse.
That's because Syracuse is going to win the national championship. They're the best team in the country this year. Despite the scandals, they have prevailed, and it seems to have inspired them, actually.
It's kind of a strange situation from Syracuse. But, just like Jerry Sandusky said, this is what Bernie Fine has to say about Syracuse.
Hey, kids!
Oh, that's a little messed up.
Yeah, just a little bit. But now moving to the bottom Bottom, I guess that's your right-hand side.
Yeah, UNC Kansas. That was a game we really had to flip a coin over.
Yeah, I mean, those
It's
are two
tough.
of the most consistent teams of all time. Personally, in my bracket, I have North Carolina losing to Michigan in the Sweet 16 just because North Carolina is too inconsistent for me. But here at the show, we have North Carolina here in the Elite Eight.
I think Michigan will lose to Temple.
Well, I think you're wrong.
I think I'm right.
But
obviously.
anyways, North Carolina and whoever plays Kansas is going to lose to Kansas as Kansas goes to the Final Four, where they will face off with Syracuse, who will beat them.
Yeah, and Kentucky versus Mizzou. Kentucky is just simply the most talented and athletic team.
Yeah, when it comes to talent, Kentucky is the best team in the country.
But experience is what will get
Experience
them
is
in
why
the national championship.
Syracuse defeats Kentucky and moves on to win it all, the national champions, for the first time since Carmelo Anthony played there.
Also, I think Boeheim's a better coach than Calipari. X's and O when it comes to the game, straight down in the game, nitty gritty. Calipari
Yeah,
isn't gonna win.
Let's face it, Syracuse is a team that really knows how to.
About practice.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
Even though
not a
Iverson's
game, not a game.
Iverson's
not a game.
university
We
will
talking
lose
about
to
practice.
Belmont.
You're right.
Not a game.
Well, just,
Not the game that I go out there and die for.
we get it, Alan.
And
Come
play
on,
every
Alan,
game like
we
it's
get
my
it.
last.
Okay,
Not
we
the
know you
game.
don't like to
We're
practice.
talking about practice, man.
Yeah, practice,
All right.
man.
Yeah, when it comes down to practice, when it comes down to teaching the game, Calipari is just not where it's at.
No.
When it comes to recruiting,
Oh, he's an incredible recruiter.
Calipari is legendary.
Yeah, but you can't tell me that he got DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall and Eric Bledsoe and Anthony Davis and Terrence Jones and Marcus Kidd-Gilchrist and Marcus Teague without cheating.
That's true. He has left every program he's left has been in shambles. Memphis, he left with the Derrick Rose ACT, like all that stuff, and then
Derrick Rose can't even
UMass
spell ACT.
and UMass. There was so much stuff going on there that their program has never been the same since.
No, never will be.
And when he leaves Kentucky, I guarantee some stuff will come out.
It will. When he leaves Kentucky for the NBA.
When he leaves Kentucky, like we're about to leave the show. Signing off!
Yeah, Radioactive Sports Hour. I am Shane Maples. We are signing off.